In this 5 minutes of focus, we're going to spend our time talking about team communication. We want to give a little shout out to the MIT Human Dynamics Lab who ran these experiments back in 2012. They are as relevant today as they were back when the experiment happened. So what did the social scientists at MIT learn when they looked at teams that outperform? Especially around communication, they understood three things. They understood that the level of energy with which people brought to the communications, team meetings, even sidebar communications was important. Members were enthusiastic, and those members that had a high level of energy, those teams tended to outperform. The buzz of the hive was much stronger. They also learned that engagement, not only engagement in the work, but engagement in the meetings and the communication was another key factor of success. So think of this in a hybrid environment. It is important that even though we are not together, we still need to be engaged. So turn your camera on and lean into the screen and really connect with your colleagues. They also learned that exploration is important. So it's important to be around the hive, but it's also important to be outside of the hive and to bring things back to the hive. So these three pieces, high energy, high engagement, and the willingness to explore outside of the team were critical to the success of the team. Well, how did our friends at MIT actually collect this data? Because they did take something that's hard to measure, and they were able to measure it with badges. These electronic badges that they created allowed them to produce sociometrics. In other words, measures of how people interact, such as tone of voice, whether they faced one another or not, how much they used gesturing. It even measured empathy levels in the types and the approach of the communication. These badges provided an incredible amount of data that allowed them to understand how teams outperformed using communication skills. So what were some of the critical elements that they learned in doing these experiments? Well, one, you need to keep your B's in balance. And so what we mean by that is in a team communication, it's important that everybody get equal airtime. And as a facilitator of the meeting, and we believe all meetings should be facilitated, especially meetings that are remote, give everyone an opportunity to speak. Draw them into the meeting, and everybody should have an equal amount of airtime in the meeting to contribute thoughts and ideas. They also learned that headline speaking matters when you're trying to be efficient and effective in team meetings. This means we don't want to go on and on. We want to pick an idea or two, or at most three, and bring those headlines to the team and then allow the team to explore if they have interest in the headline. So equal airtime and headline speaking are both very important things that they learned that prove those teams were able to outperform. There were a few other characteristics that we want to share with you as well. Here are a few other points that they learned when measuring communication effectiveness on high-performing teams. How we communicate matters. The kind of gestures that we bring, the kind of energy that we bring to the conversation really mattered between high-performing teams and those who were just sort of getting it done. Not only did members connect with the team leader, but they actually connected with one another more effectively. They enjoyed communicating about work and about projects and about all sorts of things and didn't necessarily need the team leader. This meant that there were a lot of back channel and side conversations within the team because it was important for members to keep one another informed. Periodically, they would go out and explore with other teams, learning what they could and bringing that back to the hive, as it were. We know from our research that having the right B matters. Having the right person on the team really helps team performance. And what they learned was there is an ideal B or a super B. Now, not this kind of super B. If you're a 1970s Motorhead, we're talking about this kind of super B. The kind of B that actually is a catalyst to getting work done. They bring energy to the team and they pull the team together. So as you go out and you recruit for your team, look for those super Bs because the chemistry of the hive really matters. If you found this interesting and informative, I'd encourage you to go out and check out the article, The New Science of Building Great Teams by Alex Pentland. It was published in 2012, and as I mentioned at the outset, it's as important today in a hybrid environment as it ever was even 10 years ago. If you've enjoyed this, come check us out. We'd love to hear from you.